But I wanted to start off by playing a little video clip. I need to play a little video clip at the beginning of this. And it's not cooking any video, I promise you, because Hassan, when it comes to the flag comment, I looked all week. That video has been deleted. I know it. I know you've asked that. You've got someone that video. I don't even know what channel it was on now. You made someone put that private because I couldn't find it.
I'll send you the link right now so you can clip it. You think I'm ashamed of that? I'm not ashamed.
Okay, we'll do it. But I want to play this video and get your opinions, boys.
Question stuff about me that, in my opinion, they should already know. The problem is when people start to believe him. You're unprofessional. You're this. You're that. He goes out too much. He got too many tattoos. Whatever it is, it's when the public start to believe what they're reading. That's where the issue comes down, and that's where it makes me a bit upset that they are allowed to basically just paint a picture of someone whenever they want. Write the facts and then don't carry on. The story's not big enough with the facts. That's what the problem is. They understood the path that I've been on and the journey, deals and contracts that we've said no to, compared to the deals that we've said yes to from United. And now all of a sudden, oh, he's a money grabber. Like, no. Let's go back to when it started. The publicity. They want the attraction. They want people talking about anything as long as it's got their name in it. And a lot of the stories that I see about me is pretty much that. You know, there's one or two facts about the situation and the rest, someone's just gone off on their own and continue to. I don't feel like I'm there yet. We have to find a way to get there because, you know, I feel like we have got a stronger team than what people like to put out there. And yeah, everyone can have bad days, but the thing that we still haven't got is the consistency of winning back to back.
So he's done the podcast. Obviously, everyone's waiting for it with bated breath to come out and see what it is he said. But he's being accused of shameless PR. He's being told to shut up. But at the same time, he's being criticized for having a private life. He's being criticized for his haircuts. He's being, by the way, I thought what he was wearing was banging. But he's criticized for what he's wearing. And we've seen other players in the past defended for that. Staffy is a United fan. There's a lot of outrage today that Rashford has done this podcast, done this interview, and is speaking about the criticism he's received. What's your personal take on it?
I see nothing wrong with it. I see it's causing an outrage. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why, but I personally can't relate to it. And I don't blame him for doing what he's doing. A lot of people have seen it on Twitter. Oh, Rashford's PR is in better form than him, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I get that. But so is every other top player. And you need to understand that at the end of the day, he's been the poster boy for how many years in this United team? He's always going to get scrutinized when the team is not doing well, especially a season like this when he's not playing well. But he is right. There's a lot of lies that are being told on his name. I personally am not a big fan of Rashford's footballing ability, but everything else that he gets criticized for, I never understood it. And I think I said it on the top six before, Terry. I said this is the same fan base that criticized him for paying too much attention to politics, aka feeding kids and not playing football. So I'm not surprised by everything else that he's been getting hate for. His tattoos, when we lose a game and they're like he went to the grocery store with his Rolls Royce. Why do you care if he went with a bike or a Rolls Royce? Like, is he meant to not go to the grocery store after that? Oh, he went and had a drink in Belfast. Okay, would you have said the same thing if we were winning? It's only highlighted because we are losing. And that's the one thing that he always suffers from, because it does come with the territory. He is the highest paid player in the club, if I'm correct, or one of the highest paid players. Yeah. So obviously he's always going to be under more fire. But I don't agree with the whole involvement of the personal life into what goes on the pitch. Because I keep saying, if we are winning titles and if he's performing well, no one would say anything. So you as a fan, if you criticize Rashford, you're just doing it basically because you're not happy with the performance. But then it just shows me that you never had a moral issue with everything he does outside of the pitch because we're winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, where was all this hate last year? I didn't hear any Rashford slander last year. Last year, I heard that Rashford, oh, he deserves his new contract. I'm glad we didn't sell him to PSG. All that stuff, Ballon d'Or nominees and all that. But now when he plays bad, they start highlighting things outside the pitch. And listen, there's a lot of things that he said that I agree with. And I would be upset too if people question my integrity towards the club. when people were saying he doesn't care for the club, he cares for the money, blah, blah, blah. I was with Griggs today, shout out Griggs, and he was saying he came out and said that he had a 2-game trial with City when he was a kid, and he told his mom, I want to go back to United. And this is, and when you look at City, by the way, the time that he was in the academy, City were on the rise. That was during the Sheikh Mansour takeover and all that stuff. So he could have been a part of a very successful organization. To question his love for the club and all that stuff, and that like now they're mocking it, saying, "Oh, mank board and bread and all that." I just think it's crazy to me. It's really crazy. I understand people are upset that we haven't been winning, but the involvement of his personal life and the way he spends his money and the way he dresses. By the way, listen, that LV, that Louis V he was just wearing right there, I buy that too. So if you're sitting there and you're hating on his drip, it's because you probably can't afford it. You know, if you're hating about on him going out with girls and all that, it's probably you can't draw girls. That's why. If you're hating on the whips that he's driving and the trips that he's taking, it's because you probably can't do that as well. And this is me, by the way, not falling for his PR. This has been my stance before anything happened. When the whole Belfast thing happened, by the way, I was one of the few that came out and didn't criticize them. Even though, Terry, you know, it fell perfectly in my lap because I could have used that against the Sancho situation. Because remember how much I defended Sancho. Everyone who defended Sancho came out real quick to criticize Rashford. I didn't do that because I don't agree with the concept of it anyways. So yeah, I support Rashford on this one. I don't need to be his biggest fan on the pitch, but I don't agree with it.
As a United fan, I agree. I criticised Jadon Sancho on the pitch for Man United a lot. And I feel justified in the criticism I gave him, especially that day when he pulled out of a 50-50 tackle on the edge of the box. I'm not about that. I've criticised Rashford for things this year and spoke about how if he can't perform, it's time to look at selling him because it isn't about not respecting him. It's about me respecting the club more. And yes, I think after games, we've all at times said things we probably regret about many individual player. And I understand that. So I'm not sitting here professing to be innocent in this, whiter than white, never made a mistake. I'm not being a hypocrite. So I've definitely said things like, oh, you know what? I've watched it back. Bit too angry on that one, if that makes sense. But what I'm seeing in this Rashford situation is such narcissism from his detractors. So, you know, like you watch a nature program and you got the lion that's aging and he's run the pride for a long time. And the young bucks, you know, they've been avoiding this king for a long time because they get busted up. But you know what? He's got a little bit older and he's a little bit ill and he's not as strong as he was. And they now take the chance to go in there and beat him up and make him leave so they can run it. That's how I think what people are doing with Rashford. When he's playing well, they skulk away in the corners and they hide. When he's vulnerable, when the club is vulnerable, when there's problems, they come out. But they're not they do it under the guise of I'm trying to make Man United better by having higher standards. No, you're trying to win an intellectual debate. Staffy doesn't rate Rashford, but he isn't being a hypocrite based on what he's probably defended the likes of Paul Pogba and Sancho and Martial against. He isn't then becoming a hypocrite by attacking Rashford for the same very things. And I try my best to be like that too. So with Sancho, I kind of in the beginning sided with the manager, even though I said he shouldn't have said it publicly. But then when the club started leaking stuff about him, making him eat his lunch in the car, I was straight on Sancho's side because that's too far. And he hadn't done anything bad enough to be ostracized like that. And it's about maintaining those standards as an example. And for me, all I'm really seeing is a lot of people that have never rated Rashford, or they're upset because one of their favorite players in their eyes was mistreated and they see an opportunity to essentially get some revenge or win the intellectual debate that, yes, I was right, Rashford weren't good enough. 5 years I've pushed this. It's nothing to do with wanting Man United to be better per se. It's about being able to say I was right. So I do get where Rashford's coming from. I personally wouldn't have done it if I was him because it's actually going to put a bigger target on your back. I say this to people that moan about the abuse they get on social media. I'm like, don't show the world that you're getting horrible DMs because more trolls will DM you horrible things. Don't react. We said it to Sava on these shows. Don't react to what the chat are saying. They'll do it more. It's kind of a pantomime. So I don't think Rashford should have done it because I think it could make the pressure magnify for him as an example. But am I outraged at anything he said? No. I might not even watch the episode when it comes out because in reality, all I really care about is that he's performing for us on the football pitch. And for me, it's just it's almost just like rage porn for his detractors, really, and it's nothing to do with Man United anymore. It's like literally, it's like Love Island. You know what I mean? And two people having a scrap. It's like a reality show. It's crazy to me. I don't know what you think about it, Hassam, as an outsider looking in.
I think Rashford needs to get over it, to be honest with you. It's just like when you play for Man United, you're going to get criticized, you're in the public eye. When you play for Liverpool, you're going to get criticized, you're in the public eye. Same thing with Arsenal. The reason why people are criticizing him and talking about all this shit is his inconsistencies on the pitch. If he was consistent, no one would say shit. Same thing with I can go back to my own player, Mo Salah, at the start of the season. When after he signed the new contract last year, people were like, oh, he signed a new contract, and look, he reminds me of Aubameyang, and then he shot everyone the F up when he started performing consistently, delivering consistently. Now no one cares if Mo Salah has an afro, blonde hair, or any type
But that
of
doesn't highlight the
haircut.
hypocrisy, Hussein.
Hear me out. Let me land. You cannot interrupt me in this topic specifically because they'll take out of context. Thank you. But Isma, wallah, they will actually take it out of context. Don't make me say something I don't want to say. Hear me out. Now, see, he fucked my train of thought now. Okay, 1 second. Let me land. He needs to get over it. When you play for Man United, you're going to get criticized. Look at it in the realm of YouTube. I was actually going to go there before Terry went there. Look at it in the realm of YouTube. When we have our face in front of the camera and there's thousands of people watching, we will always get held accountable to opinions that we show, opinions that we display, and people want us to be consistent. So you're gonna get criticized, and the bigger you get on this platform, the more likely you're gonna get called out, the more likely people are gonna say shit about you, the more likely people are gonna do reaction videos on you. It's just this is just how life works. Now, I don't think people should be talking about his haircut. I don't think people should be talking about the way he dresses. I don't think people should be talking about who he dates. I don't think people should be involved in his personal life. That's where I think people overdo it. I don't think people should take something so positive like giving children meals and turning it into some sort of meme material. I don't like that part. Like, if people are struggling to get food, I'm very happy that he's helping them. So that is all good. But at the same time, if you're getting criticized because you don't perform well, and people are like onto you because if you look at Marcus Rashford's Man United career, I think he's had 2 great seasons. He's had about 3 okay/good ones, and he's had about like 2-3 bad ones. So it's normal for Marcus.
He had 2 bad ones. He had
2 horrible ones.
2 horrible
this
ones.
I'm counting this one. I'm counting this one too.
Yeah. This would be the second. The first 3 seasons were like good for his age, getting better. Then he had a brilliant one, then a bad one, then a brilliant one. Look like he's having a bad one again. Yeah.
So I'm saying like there is an element of inconsistency there. Now with Marcus Rashford, let's say for the sake of argument, let's all be real about this. Let's say Marcus Rashford had 15 Premier League goals and 7 assists, and he was like up there, and Man United were in 4th place right now, and they were doing really well. Will he do this interview? No. Will people criticize him? No. So at the end of the day, footballer's job is to play well on the football pitch. And I've already clarified. That's why I didn't want Staffy but again, before I made that clear, I don't want people to mock him for his appearance or anything good thing he does. But at the end of the day, when you play for Man United, you're going to get criticized. You're in the public eye. It's just how it goes. I
actually understood the criticism that people, I wouldn't even call it criticism, but the concern people had about his sort of the work he was doing for feeding the children, not directly feeding the children, but when he was sort of calling out the MPs and challenging them, because of course it then became political, and people that support that political party were then coming for him. And I understand the concern you may have, going, well, is that going to distract him? Is that going to make him play worse? Is that going to have a detrimental effect on him? I can understand that element because it was a big thing he was doing. It was a great thing that he did, an amazing thing. The fact that he went to places like Anfield and was getting applauded demonstrates to you what a wonderful thing he did for the country. At the same time, though, when you start challenging MPs and it becomes directly political, I was someone that said at the beginning, go for it. Then I got to a stage when he was playing badly where I thought maybe you've got to step back a little bit, because as he says, he's an introvert. He's not a very confident person in terms of like confrontation talking. He's an introverted individual. So I was a little bit concerned about him, because first and foremost, if you want to keep helping people, you've got to stay relevant on the football pitch, because it's who you are as a footballer that helped you do what you did. So it becomes a bit of a cycle. So I understand that concern, but yeah, the clothes and the, what he does at weekends and everything else, going and getting drunk and not coming to training the next day, I have a problem with that. That is directly unprofessional. No, I don't care what KJ does in the evenings as long as he's at work the next day. But if he's doing something at night that's then meaning he can't perform properly at work, I think, again, that needs criticism. But look, he's got to start. But I also agree with you. There's an element of you've got to wipe him out. You've got to move on. And we don't probably say that enough in today's society of, okay, but you've got to get on with it. You've got to push through it. You've got to persevere. That is what creates the strength is going through these things. But yeah, some of the outrage I've seen surrounding it is just, it's so over the top. This here says fans, rightly or wrongly, only care about results. They don't see, but they don't know, Patrick. They don't all. Let me rephrase that. Some care about being right. How do we know that? Because when things start going their way, they move the goalposts. They now say like you're someone who doesn't rate Rashford. And I said, well, what would he have to do for you to change your mind? If the answer is he could never change it, that tells you it's not about the team winning. That tells you it's about them being right or wrong on a player. And that's more the issue. They don't see them as people, but commodities. Fans have forgiven players for worse because they were playing well and hated players for less when they were in bad form. That element, Patrick, is absolutely spot on, my friend. Luke Skywalker here says, big up the panel. Thank you, my bro. BS, if someone went on a night out until 5 a.m. and called in sick the next day when they were performing crap, of course it is going to be treated differently than someone who is doing well. Again, no one has denied that bit, Johnny Sins. But people saying he's a money grabber, when listening to it, I got no reason to disbelieve him on this. It looks like he was offered a lot more money by other big clubs, and he said no to it. Stay at United. Yeah. If you've been offered 600 grand a week to go somewhere else, and you turn down that money for what? By the way, he's earning great money. That's not what a money grabber does. A money grabber says, "I'm going with the money." And they follow it. So I think there are elements of things they say that are wrong. Doesn't mean all the criticism is wrong, though. Balance, my friend.